I am super excited. So I started in Tupperware 12 years ago, and since day one, these have been my best sellers at parties. All right, not necessarily at vendor shows, unless I can hold them hostage long enough to tell them about them. Okay, so now sometimes they come to the show and they already have one, and so they know exactly what they're looking for. And a lot of times they'll end up selling them to the other people around them before I even get a chance to. So when I first started in Tupperware, I actually didn't really own a whole bunch of Tupperware for my kitchen, and I remember talking to Pam about it, and I was like, hey, is there a manual I can read about the Tupperware to learn about it for my parties? And she literally laughed at me, and she was like, you don't read about Tupperware, you use Tupperware. I was like, well, I can't afford Tupperware, so how am I going to use the Tupperware? And she said, take the stuff out of your kit and take it to your party. Just make sure it looks really nice. Take it to your parties, and then you'll be able to use them at your parties. And then you can talk about the experiences that you're having at home, using them at home. And I'm like, okay. So then she says to me, we had 3 major lines at the time. We had modular mates, we had microwavable products, and we had our fridge smarts. So the first thing she says to me, and she says, oh, and now this is our vent, sir. She does this little mini demo for me, and she says, do you think you can go to your parties? Or she said, you think you can use that in your home? And I said, I don't own a microwave. And she goes, oh. I said, our microwave died, and we couldn't afford a new one, so, we're just kind of treading water here. She's like, oh, well, you'll have to fix that. She's like, okay, well, let me tell you about the modular maze. So she tells me all about the modular maze. She's super excited. And I'm thinking to myself, this lady's crazy. I've got $2 at home. I'm not going to come home and unpack my groceries out of the car and then into these things before I put them away. I don't have time for that. And I was like, no way. But I'd already shut her down with the other things, so I just smiled and nodded, right? So I'm since reformed. It took about, 3 or 4 months, right, being in Tupperware, seeing how much everybody loved the modular mates, and I kept getting them for free. And I kept putting them on a shelf in the basement. I was like, oh, I'll sell them to somebody. I'm not using those things. And then after about 2 or 3 times of cleaning out my cupboards and having 5 open boxes of the same cracker and all that, I was like, okay, maybe there's something to it. So the third thing she told me about were the fridge smarts. And I was like, she's like, now this will make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. I'm like, I am listening. I am hearing what you're saying. I can use that in my kitchen. Because like I said, 2 toddlers, right? So they're at the store, they're like, I want blueberries. You get home and they eat 2. Right? And then 5 days goes by, and then maybe they'll eat another couple, or all of a sudden they'll eat the whole thing and you gotta go back to the store next day, right? So they're just very finicky with stuff like that. So I love the idea of my fruits and vegetables lasting 3 to 4 times longer. And when I started in Tupperware, we didn't have a whole bunch of money, and I have the most amazing family and support system around me, and I always have. I've been very fortunate with that. And it's a relationship that we work and cultivate on back and forth together. And but at the time, we were the ones in need. And so my mother-in-law would bring us groceries all the time. Now, you think you feel guilty when you're throwing away your groceries and your hard-earned money? You feel really guilty when it's somebody else bringing you those groceries. So I love the idea of my fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. So the thing that makes these so unique. Now, how many of you have ever heard of like those green bags, right? To make your fruits and vegetables last longer. They were really big 12 years ago, like infomercials all night long when I was nursing babies, okay? And and everybody was all about them. But the thing is it's not a reusable product. So they're only green in color. They're not green, right? And so, but they work similar to this because, Tupperware is often imitated but never duplicated, okay? And so they tried to do the same thing with the venting and all of that stuff, but they were missing one major component, and it's this, right? It's this right here. It's hard, right? It protects your fruits and vegetables because the fact of the matter is your fruits and vegetables bruise just like an apple does, right? But sometimes you don't see it the way you see it on an apple. So, when you go to the drawer and you're like, you come from the store and you're like loading it down with peppers and all this fun stuff, right? You want to squeeze one more thing in there and you push everything down. I know, come on. I know you guys don't do it because you have your fridge smarts, but before Tupperware, I'm sure you did. And so you push everything down, right? And you think it didn't cause any problems, but then later your lettuce is like rotting in weird places, right? That's because it's been traumatized. So this keeps it nice and safe. So that's one way that it makes your fruits and vegetables last longer. Another way is this right down here. It's like a drainage ditch, right? Because fruits and vegetables naturally omit water as they age, right? And so without this, your fruits and vegetables, they're kind of sitting and their own juices, right? And so that's what your feet would look like if you if you stood in water for 2 weeks, right? They'd be kind of wrinkly and not pretty, right? That's why your pepper, you look in your drawer and you're just like, oh, I've got a pepper in there, I'm good to go. And you open the drawer and you lift it up and you're like, oh, good golly, the bottom's, ugh, right? And so that's number 2, right? Lifts it up out of the waters, right? And the third thing that it does is right up here. This is our venting system, all right? Now this is where the magic happens because your fruits and vegetables naturally emit gases as they age, right? And those gases, even some of them those gases can rot other fruits and vegetables around it. All right, so you have 3 major categories with your fruits and vegetables: heavy and light and medium gassers, right? And so it's all right here. You don't have to remember anything I'm saying, right? It's all right here, the chart. And so you want to make sure to vent properly. And you want to also put the same things in the same gas family into the same container, all right? And so you can mix and match and do some things like that. I love my fruits and vegetables. I love fresh fruit and vegetables. I'm not crazy about the frozen stuff. I love to roast it. I love to be able to grill it. I love to steam it. I love all of that. And this is what makes that happen because I can go to the grocery store 2 times a month and buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Usually I go once a week because we eat so many fruits and vegetables. And the thing is they save you so much money. You go from throwing away, think about it. How many times you go to the grocery store with good intentions, right? You go and you're like, I am totally eating a salad this week. That's happening. That is so happening. If anybody knows, you're all laughing because I don't eat salads. And so, but I go to the store sometimes and they're under the illusion that I'm going to eat a salad that week. And I buy all the stuff and then I'm like, I don't feel like a salad. And then a day goes by, I don't feel like a salad. A week goes by, I don't feel like a salad. But when I have them in here, by the time I feel like a salad, about 2 weeks later, and I think everything's rotten, so that's when I feel like a salad, it's still good, right? All right, so I had a customer who actually lived in, it was like one of the flyover states. And she told me that she would go to the grocery store once a month because it took her 2 hours to get to the grocery store. And because of the Fridge Smarts, she was able to have fresh fruits and vegetables all month long because of the Fridge Smarts, because it will make your broccoli last over 2 weeks in here, and that's amazing, all right? Now, 2 things I recommend when you purchase these, right? Okay, so 1, don't store them where you store the rest of your Tupperware. If it looks anything like my Tupperware cupboard, which is organized, it's just a lot of stuff in there, right? If it's not convenient, I'm not going to use it. Even though I know that it's going to make things last longer, I'm not going to use it. So you want to make sure to store it someplace separate from that. I even know people that just put it back into the refrigerator empty, to save the spot, right? All right, and so you can do that for sure. And one of the things that I love about this one too, because we just recently, like in the last couple of years, remodeled them, and they nest beautifully. So you don't have to worry about a ton of storage for all the different sizes and all that kind of good stuff. So the other thing I recommend is as soon as you get home, put your fruits and vegetables in here. Now, they will last longer if you leave them completely intact and dirty, all right? And naked, right? Take them out of the wrapper. Don't put the wrapper in there, okay? They will last the longest. However, I prep everything because if it's not prepped, I'm not gonna. I'll look at it and I'll be like, I really should eat carrots right now, but it's easier to open the bag of chips. Okay, so I prep everything when it comes in, so it doesn't last quite as long, but I'm telling you, it lasts significantly longer. I mean, I've had strawberries that are prepped with the hulls out in my Fridge Smarts last 2 weeks, and that's pretty impressive. So I cannot say enough good things about these things and when you purchase them, you definitely want the entire set. So my mom, when I first started in Tupperware, my father died about 6 months into my business. And my mom says to me, we had a Fridge Smart sale. And it was a huge tower of Fridge Smarts, right? And she goes, well, I really want some of those Fridge Smarts on sale, but I do not need all of those Fridge Smarts. It's just me. And I was just like, well, actually, Mom, you need all of them because it is just you, because it's going to make your fruits and vegetables last longer, and things aren't going to go to waste because it's just you eating now. And she's like, oh, well, I'll just buy the set, and whatever I don't use, I'll give back to you. You need to go sell it to somebody else. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. So she bought the set. So she calls me, and she's so excited. She's like, oh, my set came in. I'm so excited. And I was like, that's great, Mom. She goes, you're never going to believe what happened. I said, what? She goes, I used all of them but one. I knew that was going to happen. And that's the thing. I mean, we talk about these being girlfriend sets because our BOGOs are typically, we kind of market them as girlfriend sets. You do not want to give one of these sets to your girlfriends. Don't make any promises that you can't keep, all right? So buy them with the intention of keeping them yourself, right? And then for some reason, if you decide that you don't need the other set, then you can gift that set away. However, I can almost bet money that you're going to use all of these. You're going to absolutely use all of these. For your mushrooms, for your berries, for your big herbs that you buy fresh from the market, for your asparagus, for your spinach, all that kind of good stuff. And I shop at an indoor farmer's market year round, and it is awesome. And I'm able to go there and be able to fill these up on a weekly basis, and everybody's able to snack out of them. I don't have to worry about recalls on fruits and vegetables. I think about that all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh. When they do recalls, I don't know how fast you guys go through food, but I have I have very hungry people in my house. And I'm like, the food's already gone by the time they recall this stuff. I didn't lettuce last week. It was gone the day I bought it. You know, and so then there's one about cookie dough. I got a letter in the mail, and I'm just like, I bought that 3 weeks ago. It was gone in the first 4 days. Like, all right, so keep your family safe using the fridge smarts, making your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. And seriously, your food budget, it's incredible what it'll do for your food budget. So right now, they're buy one, get one, right? Love it. I thought there's a slide. I think they're, what, $84? $94. That's what I said. All right, so it makes a great holiday gift for somebody that you care about, somebody that loves to eat salad, or maybe somebody who doesn't love to eat salad because then their fruits and vegetables last long enough while they're trying to decide that they want to eat the salad. All right, is it we're doing